So we are starting with today's session, and today's session is on urethra. Okay. Of course, when we talk about the urethra, we will have to talk about the male urethra separately and female urethra separately. Because male urethra is 18 to 20 centimeter long, while female urethra is only 4 to 6 centimeter long. And here you can distinctly understand the reason why urinary tract infections are more common in females. Urinary tract infections are more common in females. Okay. Now let us talk about the male urethra first. Now the male urethra, which is 18 to 20 centimeter long. So the long axis of this male urethra shows two curvatures. And therefore it is S-shaped. Okay. S-shaped when the penis is in flaccid state. And this urethra is J-shaped when the penis is in erect shape. And to demonstrate this, I will draw two diagrams for you. Suppose this is the urinary bladder, you are looking from the side, and this is the prostate down here. This is urinary bladder, this is prostate, this is prostatic utricle, you are looking from the side, this is anterior, this is posterior, somewhere here. Here is the pubic symphysis. Okay. Nowadays, they don't draw what we used to draw previously, the sphincter urethrae as such a big muscle. Okay. And immediately after that is the bulb of the penis, and then is, so this is how the penis becomes S-shaped, and this and the terminal part is the navicular fossa. Okay. So this is the penis in a flaccid state. Now when the same penis is in the erect state, so this is the bladder, this is the prostate, then this is the urethra, and when the penis is in the erect state, what we call as the J shape. So this is S shape when penis is flattened, and this is J shape of the urethra when the penis is in the erect state. And there is one more diagram which I would like to draw for you to orient you in a better way, and that diagram is, now this both were kind of sagittal sections. Now we'll draw a coronal section. A coronal section. So in coronal section, this is the urinary bladder. Okay. Then down here is the prostate. So this is prostate, this is urinary bladder. And then beyond the prostate here is the sphincter urethrae muscle. And then is the terminal portion of the urethra. Okay, so the penis, glans penis is here. So urethra has three parts. This part is called as prostatic urethra. Prostatic urethra. This part, which is lying in the surrounded by sphincter urethrae, is called as membranous urethra. And this part of the urethra is called as the spongy urethra. Okay, prostatic urethra is star shaped. Okay, membranous urethra sorry, the membranous urethra is star shaped. If I am not mistaken, I'll just confirm this with you. Because normal textbook don't talk about this. The prostatic urethra is normally semilunar in shape, and the membranous urethra is more like a star shape. Okay. Spongy urethra is a horizontal slit, and towards the end it is vertical slit, and therefore the urine appears to be twisted. The urine appears to be twisted in case of males, because the urine passes through prostatic urethra is semilunar in shape, membranous urethra which has a shape like a star, spongy urethra which is a horizontal slit, and the terminal part of the urethra there is a vertical slit. Okay, so vertical slit here, it is like this here, membranous is like this, prostatic is like this, and therefore the urine appears to be twisted. You will not believe, you'll come across 1-2 patients will come to you and say that my urine doesn't go straight, it appears to be twisted. So that is because the shapes of the urethra are different in the different parts. Okay. Now again, this is the prostatic urethra, this is the spongy urethra, and this, this is the membranous urethra, and this is the spongy urethra. The spongy urethra has two parts. This is the pelvic part, which lies in the pelvis, and this is the phallic part. Okay. And we talk about injury to this pelvic part, which is very common, or bursting of the urethra, or urethral rupture, what we call as the urethral rupture. It happens, the urethral rupture, it happens most commonly. The injury is, suppose this is a manhole, and then the manhole has a flexible lid, and somebody is walking, and while walking, if there is an injury in the perineal region, this injury happens here, and pelvic urethra ruptures. And then all of us know about the line of Holden, where the deep fascia is attached to fascia lata, deep fascia of the abdomen, and therefore the urine extravasates into the anterior abdominal wall and goes right up to the neck, but not into the lower limb. So in case of urethral rupture, you have to remember, whenever the urethra ruptures, the urine extravasates upwards and not downwards. Because if you look from the side, this is the abdomen, and from here the lower limb begins. So the deep fascia comes and gets attached here very firmly, okay, on the fascia lata. So urethra is somewhere here. So whenever the urethra ruptures, the urine will enter the anterior abdominal wall, okay, anterior abdominal wall, and go up and not down. It will not go down. Now, some more important things which you need to study about the urethra is that here on the sides are bulbourethral glands which open into the urethra. There are two sphincters of the urethra. One is the internal sphincter and another is external sphincter. The external sphincter we can see here. This sphincter urethrae muscle is the external sphincter. Okay, this sphincter urethrae muscle is the external sphincter. The internal sphincter is located somewhere here. The internal sphincter is here. External sphincter is here. Internal is involuntary and external sphincter is voluntary. The details of only one part of the urethra which you have to know, and that is the prostatic urethra. Suppose now I'm drawing a small view. This is the urinary bladder, and this is the urethra passing from the bladder into the prostate. So I'm only drawing bladder and prostate right now. Okay, this is, and here is the internal sphincter. So this is urinary bladder, this is prostate, and this part of the urethra is called as the prostatic urethra. This prostatic urethra in its posterior wall shows an elevation. This elevation is called as urethral crest. urethral crest. Another name for this urethral crest is verumontanum. Another name for this urethral crest is verumontanum. Verumontanum. Okay. Opening on this urethral crest. So you can see in this diagram that there is a prostatic utricle. Prostatic utricle like this. So it will open here. Now this you are looking from the side. When you look from the front, you see the prostatic utricle. So this prostatic utricle opens on this urethral crest, and this opening is called as colliculus seminalis. This opening is called as colliculus seminalis, which is opening of the prostatic utricle. Okay, opening of the prostatic utricle. Then just on the sides of this are the openings of ejaculatory ducts. Openings of the ejaculatory duct. Then the space by the side is called as prostatic sinus. So both sides there will be a space called as prostatic sinus. Okay, these are just vertical grooves on the side of urethral crest, and in this prostatic sinus are the openings of prostatic glands. So prostatic urethra you need to know in detail. So I'll again start. The prostatic urethra shows a elevation in its posterior wall, which is called as urethral crest or verumontanum. On this verumontanum is colliculus seminalis. Colliculus seminalis. So this is colliculus seminalis, opening of prostatic utricle. Prostatic utricle is kind of similar to a uterus, homologous to the uterus in males. On the side of this urethral crest are the openings of the ejaculatory ducts. And then there are vertical sinuses, vertical gaps, prostatic sinus. And in this prostatic sinus are the openings of prostatic glands. So prostatic gland opening. Okay, so prostatic glands open here, prostatic sinus. So what are the things which we see in the posterior wall of the prostatic urethra? One, urethral crest, opening of prostatic utricle, ejaculatory ducts opening, prostatic sinus, 5 things, and openings in the sinus are the prostatic glands which form a major part of the semen. Now let us talk about the applied anatomy. Let us talk about the applied anatomy. Now, how do you apply this anatomy in your clinical practice? Of course, we always said that applied anatomy we describe under few headings, and those headings are the congenital anomalies first. So in congenital anomalies, we talk about epispadias and hypospadias. Hypospadias is when the urethra opens below the under surface of the penis. It opens below the penis. Urethra opens below the penis. And epispadias, where it opens above the penis. Okay. Now, second is we talk about investigations here. Of course, investigation of the urethra is done by cystoscopy, urethroscopy. Okay, mainly during cystoscopy only we examine the urethra also in case of males. Okay, but then uh, medical problem is urethritis. But before that, I would like to talk about what is done in the practice of medicine and surgery is catheterization of the bladder. Okay, so during the catheterization of the bladder, first thing you have to do in case of a male patient is we have to hold the penis in erect position. Okay, and then pass it. Otherwise, passing it like this becomes very difficult because urethra is S-shaped. Because urethra is S-shaped, so passing through S-shaped is very difficult compared to passing it in a J shape. Okay, so this catheterization is very commonly done, and so we have to remember the normal curvature. And we have to also remember that in this urethra, there are glands like this. So if the catheter goes into one of the glands and we force, this can cause rupture of the urethra. This is not good. Okay. No, rather not rupture, but this can cause false passages in the urethra. So one has to be very, very, very careful about knowing the curvatures, knowing that there are some glands in the urethra. One should not forcefully insert the catheter, especially when it is a metallic instrument we are doing for any procedure. Okay. The next is surgical, and that we talk about the rupture of urethra. Rupture of urethra. Okay. So when it is ruptured, when there is an injury below the pubis, below the pubis, and this causes extravasation of urine. And we already had talked about that extravasation of the urine is uh, goes in the abdomen. In medicine, we have to also talk about urethritis, inflammation of the urine. This is common in STD, sexually transmitted disease, very common, urethritis. Okay. Cancer of the penis is known, so I will not talk about the cancer of the urethra. So that is all about the urethra. I'll just revise it fast. Urethra in case of males is 15 to 18 to 20 centimeter long. In females, it is 4 to 6 centimeter long. In male urethra, uh, there are three parts. One is the prostatic part, which is 3 centimeter. Second is the membranous part. Membranous part, okay. Membranous part is this, which is 1 centimeter, 1 centimeter. And this is whole is the spongy part, which is 15 centimeter. So this is how it is 18 to 20 centimeter long. It is S-shaped when penis is in a flaccid shape. When a penis is in an erect shape, it is J-shaped. Then the prostatic part, membranous part, there are bulbourethral glands which open into it. Then there is a fossa which is called as navicular fossa. Navicular fossa. There are two fossae which we see. One is navicular fossa, which is at the terminal part, and intrabulbar fossa, which is here. Okay. So the intrabulbar fossa is here. So there are two fossae. One is navicular fossa and second is intrabulbar fossa. So intrabulbar fossa is here. Navicular fossa is on this side. Then we talked about, I showed you a rupture of urethra happens when the injury is exactly between the two legs. A lid of a flexible lid of manhole can hit it, and then there is extravasation of urine. Then we talked about prostatic urethra shows the urethral crest, which is an elevation called as verumontanum, and on this there is uh, uh, folliculus seminalis, opening of the prostatic urethra, side of which the two ducts open. And then there is prostatic sinus, in which many 15 to 20 prostatic glands open. Then we talked about the applied anatomy. We said hypospadias is when the urethra opens below the penis. Epispadias when it opens above the penis. Investigation cystoscopy. That time we do urethroScopy also. In medical things, remember urethritis and catheterization of the bladder. especially with metallic instruments, we have to remember the curvatures. We should not push into a gland forcefully and create false passages. Surgically, rupture of urethra below the pubis. So that is about the anatomy of the urethra. In case of females, the urethra is only 4 to 6 centimeter long, and that makes females more susceptible for urinary tract infection. The urethra opens just above the vaginal opening. Thank you so much.